How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Noah, back again with a different kind of video. Yes, I know I've been gone for over a month. I'm sorry about that. It's this little thing called college I had to do. But anyway, today I've decided to do a different kind of video, and it's one I've been really wanting to do, but I'm not sure how it'll resonate with people because not all people like sports. But I've been thinking about doing a series where I kind of review and preview each NFL week because I really love sports, especially football. It's my favorite sport. I don't know what I'd do without football. And so I thought I'd kind of review how week 1 of the NFL season went, and to kind of pass the time, I've got this little gameplay, Texans-Bengals in the background, which is this week's Thursday night game. But that's not what's important. This gameplay is really not important at all. I'm just here to review week 1, so let's get right into it, guys. First game we got is the opening game of the NFL season. The defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm also going to go over how I predicted each of these games to go. So I predicted the Patriots to win. And well, this was a great start because I predicted incorrectly because the Kansas City Chiefs ended up destroying the Patriots by a score of 42-27. And while that doesn't sound like a big difference, only 15 points, it really was just completely dominated by the Chiefs in the second half. The Patriots went into the fourth quarter with a 27-21 lead before the Chiefs scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. It was just really sad to see. The Patriots defense was in absolute shambles. Kareem Hunt, the rookie running back for the Chiefs, ended up with over 200 yards from scrimmage. That is an NFL record. That is absolutely insane. And the funny thing is, Kareem Hunt actually fumbled on the very first carry of his NFL career, and the commentators were like, well, that's not a very good start. And then all of a sudden, this guy just goes off for over 200 yards from scrimmage. It was really fantastic to see him overcome that. And the Patriots, they got to get it together, man. I mean, fair play to Alex Smith, the Chiefs quarterback. He threw for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, but Patriots defense has got to get going. You know, Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback in NFL history, in my opinion. Tom Brady, they'll always have a chance to compete, but they got to fix that defense, man. So anyway, yeah, my first prediction was incorrect, but let's move on to the next game. My favorite team, the Atlanta Falcons, playing the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. And this was one that people were expecting to be not close at all, but it actually was a very good game, unfortunately for me, because it went right down to the wire. In fact, the Falcons had to make a last-second fourth-down stop on the goal line to preserve the victory. The final score was 23-17 Atlanta, and it was a very good game right down to the wire. Tarek Cohen, the rookie running back for the Bears, was the biggest star for them. He ended up with over 60 yards carrying, but he actually was a great factor in the receiving game as well. I believe he finished with about over 100 total yards from scrimmage, and he did a very good job. And I was actually very surprised to see how Mike Glennon, the Bears quarterback, played. I wasn't expecting too much from him, and through 3 quarters, you know, it looked kind of average. He was just kind of checking down, but in the fourth quarter, he really got it going. And I'm a big Mitch Trubisky fan, but I gotta admit, Mike Glennon played really well. But the Falcons came out with the win behind a 320-yard passing day from Matt Ryan. And the defense made a couple of nice big plays, including, I think, 2 sacks on the final drive to stop the Bears from scoring in the red zone. So that was great. And how about that Austin Hooper stiff arm on that 80-yard touchdown? What a play. That was the turning point of the game. That was just an incredible play. But there we go. I predicted the Falcons to win this one, so my record is now 1-1. So I'll definitely take that. My favorite team won, so I'll always take that, man. But anyway, Falcons get the W here, and now let's move on to the next game. Bills-Jets. Oh, what a snore fest this would be. I mean, the Jets are the worst team in the NFL. They got no quarterback. They got freaking Josh McCown, the 38-year-old veteran who's done absolutely nothing in his career. The only record I think Josh McCown holds is the fact he's played for like 10 different NFL teams. But anyway, the Jets just have no offense. And the Bills, I like Tyrod Taylor. He's a nice mobile quarterback, and they traded for Jordan Matthews, the speedy receiver from Philadelphia in the offseason, and that clearly helped him as he had 2 catches for 61 yards. Tyrod Taylor went for over 202 TDs, no mistakes. LaShawn McCoy rushed for over 100 yards, and the freaking Jets just have no offense whatsoever. I honestly think they could go like 1-15 this year. They're just straight garbage, dude. But anyway, the Bills, I did predict the Bills to win this game, as you can probably predict from how I'm bashing the Jets. And the Bills ended up getting the W 21-12. I mean, just a low-scoring, boring game. I mean, it's Bills-Jets. What do you expect? The Jets are garbage. Anyone who plays the Jets should win, and the Bills got it done. They did what they had to do. Next game. Okay. This game I was completely wrong about. Okay, the game is Ravens-Bengals, and the Bengals are actually the home team here, playing in the black and orange jerseys right here. But Ravens-Bengals, I predicted the Bengals to win. I thought Andy Dalton was due for a big day. They drafted the Bengals drafted Joe Mixon in the offseason at running back. I thought he would do a really nice trio with Gio Bernard and Jeremy Hill, but clearly I was completely wrong, because the Ravens won the game 20-0. So, yeah, I was completely wrong about this game. I didn't watch this game, but I think Andy Dalton threw 3 or 4 interceptions, which is just straight garbage. I mean, if you don't watch the NFL and you want context on how garbage that is, just imagine 3 or 4 interceptions. Andy Dalton was basically the AK Marine Hunter of the NFL on Sunday. I mean, he just played straight garbage, man. No consistency whatsoever. But anyway, yeah. Oh, I just looked it up. He actually threw 4 interceptions. I mean, just straight garbage. AK Marine Hunter's level of straight trash. But anyway, the freaking Ravens defense dominated. Terrence West had a nice game, 80 yards and a touchdown. And despite a solid game from A.J. Green, he did all he could do. But, I mean, Andy Dalton just played so trash. Bengals get shut out 20-0. Just embarrassing. Hopefully they can do better against the Texans this week, but I don't know. Anyway, after I completely misjudged that game, let's get on to the next one. Steelers-Browns. I picked the Steelers to win this game because the Browns are terrible. They went 1-15 last year. But you know, they drafted Deshaun Kaiser in the 3rd round this year, and after the preseason, they gave him the starting job. And I have to admit, that Browns defense is actually pretty good. They actually held the Steelers down to like the very last play of the game, all the way down to the end. The Steelers only won the game 21-18, and that's with a freaking blocked punt by the Steelers on like the 4th play of the game that led to a touchdown. You take that fake punt away, the Browns could have won this game 18-14. Now, obviously, you can't just say everything will be the exact same, but I mean, the Browns played the Steelers very tightly when no one gave them a chance to do. Very impressive. But in the end, the Steelers do end up winning the game behind an amazing performance from Antonio Brown. Top 2 receiver in the NFL, goes for 182 yards. Dominance from Ben Roethlisberger, 263 yards and 2 touchdowns. And despite a solid debut from Deshaun Kaiser in that Browns defense, the Steelers end up getting the win. But I have to say, it might not all be doom and gloom in Cleveland for the Browns this year. They might have some potential, and that's good for their fans. They got really loyal fans. I hope they do well. But they're not able to win this opening game. But they held it down the wire, and I mean, that's very impressive what they did. Anyway, on to the next game. Lions-Cardinals. I picked the Lions to win this game, and I was correct. The Lions ended up winning this game by a final score of 35-23. Matthew Stafford, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, $135 million contract over 5 years, threw a pick 6 on the first drive of the game, but he ended up recovering pretty well, I'd say. He passed for 4 touchdowns and almost 300 yards, leading the Lions to the comeback victory. 20 points in the 4th quarter. Very impressive. Golden Tate for the Lions had over 100 yards receiving, and I have to say, I watched a little bit of this game, because once the Falcons game ended, they showed like the final 4 minutes. I have to say, I don't know what is going on with the Cardinals. Carson Palmer just, from what I saw, he just doesn't seem to have it, man. I don't know if it's just a bad week, or if it's the fact that he's 37, turning 38 in December is catching up to him, but Carson Palmer just did not look good in this game, and even worse for the Cardinals, David Johnson, their star running back, got injured, and I saw earlier today he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months. That is a massive loss for the Cardinals. I don't know if they'll be able to recover, especially with the Seahawks in that division and the improving Rams. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know. Larry Fitzgerald, the solid future Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Cardinals, I don't know if this is going to be the year where he gets that well-deserved Super Bowl ring. I just don't know if the Cardinals have it after losing David Johnson, and their defense just did not show up against the Lions either. So we'll see how the Cardinals do, but the Lions pick up a very impressive victory here in Week 1, 35-23. Next game, another game I was completely wrong about. Texans-Jaguars. I picked the Texans, even though I knew they were starting Tom Savage, who is not very good. But I thought they should have started Deshaun Watson, but it turns out it didn't make a difference either way because both of them actually played in this game, and neither of them really got it going as the Jaguars defense completely dominated the Texans, and the Jaguars won the game by a final score of 29-7. Just terrible, terrible game from the Texans. Very good from the Jaguars. You gotta love that defense. Blake Bortles made very few mistakes. Not very impressive, but I mean, when you have that defense, you don't need to play like you're the best in the world. He got a touchdown pass. Very impressive game from Leonard Fournette, the rookie running back. 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. That's what you like to see from your first-round pick, number 5 overall, I believe it was, Leonard Fournette, out of LSU. So that's very good to see for the Jaguars. And, man, the Texans have to get their offense going. Their offensive line is just straight garbage, man. I don't care if it's Tom Savage, Deshaun Watson. You could have freaking Joe Montana back there. But with that offensive line, they're not going to get much done this year. They have got to sort that out fast before this becomes a common thing for them. They got blown out by the Jaguars. I did not predict that, so fair play by the Jaguars. Their defense played great. Leonard Fournette had a good game. Well-deserved win for the Jaguars. Anyway, moving on to the next game. Buccaneers-Dolphins got canceled because of the Hurricane Irma, so let's move right past that. Raiders-Titans. This is a very good game, actually. Moving into it, I wasn't sure who to pick, but I ended up picking the Raiders. I mean, you got two solid, young, promising quarterbacks here in Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. And while Mariota is one of my personal favorites, I'd still say Derek Carr is the better one by far at this point in their career at least. But you actually had a pretty good game. The Raiders ended up coming out with a win, 26-16. Derek Carr threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marshawn Lynch came back from retirement after a year away, his last season being with the Seahawks, and he had a decent opening game for the Raiders. He ended up going for 76 total yards. Michael Crabtree in the receiving game had over 80 yards, and I think the Raiders are going to be very good this year. I picked them to win their division, the AFC West, although with what the Chiefs did to the Patriots, it could be a very close battle. So, yeah, fair play to the Raiders. They played very well, and I picked the Titans. The Titans are a good team as well. I think the Titans will win their division. I picked both these teams to win their respective divisions, the Raiders, the AFC West, and the Titans, the AFC South. But this was a good game, but the Raiders ended up pulling away 26-16 with 10 points in the fourth quarter. So fair play to the Raiders, and let's move on to the next game. This was another game I predicted incorrectly, but it wasn't as much a surprise as the other one because this was actually a very close game on paper. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Redskins, NFC East battle. These are always really close games, and this game was no different. The Eagles ended up winning the game 30-17 behind a great game from their quarterback Carson Wentz. Threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And oh my God, did you see that one play he did in the second quarter where he basically stayed in the pocket for about 7 seconds, avoided all those defenders, and then he ran to the left and threw a perfect pass about 50 yards down the field to Nelson Aguilar for the first touchdown of the game. Oh my God, that was an incredible play. That you just knew when that happened, the Eagles were going to have a good chance to win this game, and they ended up doing so very well. Despite the fact that LeGarrette Blount didn't really get much going, I think he had a touchdown reception, however, from Carson Wentz. I think it was a 2-yard pass, so that was good. And I want to talk briefly about the controversial call that ended this game. In case you didn't watch it, the Redskins quarterback, Kirk Cousins, he started to throw a pass, but before he could throw the pass, he got hit by a defender from behind, and the ball came out, and it was ruled a fumble, returned by the Eagles for a touchdown on the play. And looking at the replays, a lot of people were saying that Cousins' arm was actually coming forward when the ball came out, and in case you don't know, when the ball is coming forward and it comes out, that's supposed to be ruled an incomplete pass and not a fumble. In that case, if the referees got it wrong, then the Redskins would still have had the ball with a chance to drive down and win the game with a last-second touchdown. But instead, they ruled it was a fumble, and the Eagles returned it and sealed the game. And looking at the replay, I kind of looked like an incomplete pass to me, but I mean, you know, bad calls are part of the game, and I mean, it was a close play, so I'm not going to say the refs cost the Redskins this game or anything like that, but it was a pretty close play, and it was a good game. But anyway, you just move on. You can't blame the refs for everything. I mean, Carson Wentz had a great game. Just improve your defense, and I think the Redskins will be just fine to compete for a wild card. But not this day, as the Eagles end up winning this game by a final score of 30-17. Excuse me. And now the next game, this one I predicted right, and oh my God, it wasn't even close. Indianapolis Colts at the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams, not the St. Louis Rams. And the Rams end up winning by a final score of 46-9. That's right, you heard me correctly. 46-9. I mean, this wasn't that surprising to me because the Colts starting quarterback Andrew Luck was out with an injury. They had to start the backup Scott Tolzien, who hasn't really played much in his career besides, I think, 1 year he played a little for the Packers, but he's just not a very good quarterback at this stage. He's a backup quarterback. That's exactly what he is, and it showed in this game. The Rams defense completely dominates. I know they had at least one pick six because I saw the replay, and man, it's just Colts. All I'm going to say about this game is I hope that Andrew Luck comes back very fast because you guys got no offense, and the fact you gave up 46 points shows you have no defense as well because Jared Goff, the Rams quarterback, threw for over 300 yards and a touchdown. He did great, but man, fair play to the Rams, but Indianapolis, you got to fix these issues and hope Andrew Luck comes back because if your defense is this bad and your offense is this bad without Luck, you need this guy to even have a shot, man. I mean, just a terrible performance from the Colts. But fair play to the Rams. They get the nice blowout victory. I'm sure they'll take that. And let's move on to the next game. Oh, man. This game I predicted right, and this game was actually a bit of a disappointment to me. America's Game of the Week, Packers-Seahawks. I was really looking forward to this game, but to be honest, this game was really defensive and kind of boring, to be honest. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson both kind of struggled in this game. Packers ended up winning it by a score of 17-9, however, and you know, I mean, from what I saw, it was a really good defensive game, and if you liked that, I mean, fair play to you, but it was a little too defensive for my liking. It was a good game, but, you know, I don't know, I kind of just got bored of it after about halftime. So, but anyway, enough of my personal feelings. Enough of my feelings. Aaron Rodgers, the Packers quarterback, threw for over 300 yards, 311 to be exact, and touchdown. And despite his early struggles throwing an early interception, he ended up rebounding and leading the Packers to the win. Randall Cobb had a nice game, 9 receptions for 85 yards, and the Seahawks offensive line is absolutely terrible. They have got to get that fixed. There was actually one play where, there's actually a meme of it, where 3 of the Packers defenders got behind the offensive line and were right in front of Wilson, and the offensive linemen are just standing behind the defenders, just clueless as their quarterback is about to get smacked. And man, you know, I got high hopes for Russell Wilson. I actually drafted him in fantasy, which, as you can probably tell, is really hurting me now because of how bad he played because of his offensive line. But man, Russell Wilson is really talented. I mean, a Super Bowl winner, but you got to give him some more protection than this man. I mean, he just had no chance. And the Packers end up winning 17-9. And Seahawks, man, you got to improve big time because I know I said I didn't expect much from the Cardinals, but if your offensive line is this terrible, I mean, the freaking Rams, the way they looked against the Colts, might actually win this division. But I'm not going to get my head of myself. I still pick the Seahawks, and I still think they can rebound, but they got to fix that offensive line fast. Anyway, next game, Panthers at 49ers. I picked the Panthers to win, and they ended up doing so by a final score of 23-3. 49ers just have no quarterback. They ended up going 2-14 last year. They just got no talent on offense whatsoever, especially at quarterback. They started Brian Hoyer, the 31-year-old veteran, and Brian Hoyer has been a backup basically his entire career except for 2014 when he started, I think, 13 games for the Cleveland Browns. and he did decent, but he's just not, I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback, and it ended up showing in this game, as Brian Hoyer passed for under 200 yards and 1 interception, no touchdowns, only 3 points on offense. Just not very good at all. And the Panthers ended up getting it done. They do have a good defense, the Panthers do. And Cam Newton was the 2015 MVP, so you can tell they have talent on offense as well, especially after drafting Christian McCaffrey, the rookie running back out of Stanford, to pair with the veteran Jonathan Stewart. They definitely have a lot of tools on offense, and their defense is very respectable, but I just feel like their secondary is not good enough to compete and make the playoffs. I mean, last year, the Panthers' biggest weakness was their secondary. I mean, remember when Julio Jones for the Falcons ended up getting 300 yards in that one game? Their corners just are very young and very unproven, and while they may have talent later in the future, they're just not NFL ready right now, I don't think, and they didn't do much to fortify that in the offseason. But anyway, they did play well this game, and I guess as a Panthers fan, that's all you can ask for. Who knows? Maybe those young rookies will be better this year. But anyway, they end up beating the 49ers by a final score of 23-3, kind of what you expected at least. Now, moving on to the Sunday night game, this game was an absolute snore fest, at least for me, mainly because it was so one-sided. Giants-Cowboys is always a great game to watch, but this time it was just completely dominated by the Cowboys. They ended up winning and beating the Giants by a final score of 19-3. And you know what? Good game from Dak Prescott. I mean, perfect game for him. 268 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I believe. I don't think he threw any interceptions. I probably should have prepared for this video, but most of these games I didn't watch, so I'm actually looking up the box scores right now. But anyway, good game from Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott, he was able to play week 1 despite that 6-week suspension. We'll see how that works out, but he definitely had a good game, rushing for over 100 yards. And how about that catch by Cole Beasley, that one-handed behind-the-back catch he made in the 4th quarter? Oh my God, that was an incredible catch. If you didn't see it, look up Cole Beasley's one-handed catch. I mean, that was just a great behind-the-back catch. Fantastic play. And the Giants just, I don't know what it is for the Giants. I actually predicted them to beat the Cowboys in this game and beat the Cowboys for the NFC East Division, but their offense is just looking terrible right now. Eli Manning, just not a good game at all. He threw so many passes behind receivers. Brandon Marshall, who we expected to be a great signing for the Giants in the offseason, he had 1 catch for 10 yards. And if you're getting paid millions as a nice free agent signing for the Giants, you got to get more than 1 catch for 10 yards. I don't care if Eli Manning is throwing it behind you sometimes. You got to play better than that. You could definitely tell they missed Odell Beckham in this game as he was injured, because the Giants' offense was held to 3 points and just did not look good whatsoever. Fair play to the Cowboys, though. They ended up getting a 19-3 win, but the Giants have got to improve big time if they want to beat the Cowboys for this division. Anyway, moving on to the 2 Monday night games. I did not watch either of these games, I'm sorry, but I just didn't feel like it. But anyway, I'm going to commentate on them anyway, because I think I watched a few highlights anyway. First one, New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, as a Falcons fan, I love to see the Saints lose, and they did lose this game by a final score of 29-19. Sam Bradford, who I think is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL, he had a great game for the Vikings, throwing for 346 yards and 3 touchdowns. So if you look at that, he probably had the best game out of all Week 1 quarterbacks. And Dalvin Cook, the rookie running back for the Vikings, ended up going for over 127 yards. And that's an interesting storyline, because if you remember, the Vikings let Adrian Peterson go in the offseason and drafted Dalvin Cook, the rookie, to replace him. And guess who Adrian Peterson's new team is? That's right, the Saints, who the Vikings were playing in this game. And there was actually a funny thing during the game that I saw people talking about, where Adrian Peterson was actually yelling at Sean Payton, the Saints head coach, on the sideline. And basically what he was saying is, "Coach, we need to run the ball. We're not doing anything on offense. We need to run it. Give me the ball." But man, the Saints offense is just, it's really good, but their defense is garbage, man. I mean, Sam Bradford, as much as I like him, I mean, he was basically flawless in this game. Just no pressure from the Saints, no pass coverage whatsoever. Almost 350 yards passing. This is a storyline for the Saints every year. They have a good offense, but their defense is just always so bad. So even though they have a future Hall of Famer and a top 3 quarterback all time in Drew Brees, if they don't fix that Saints defense, they got no shot in the NFC South or the NFC period. So anyway, Drew Brees, he's 38, I believe now, and well, I love the guy, and I think he's definitely top 3 all time and a lock first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know, man. Unless they make some serious changes on defense next year, I don't know if he's going to get that elusive second Super Bowl ring after that magical run in 2009. But anyway, the Minnesota Vikings get the well-deserved 29-19 victory. And let's move on to the final game of Week 1, the 11 o'clock Monday night game, which was the Broncos at Chargers. Another game I did not watch. But anyway, I predicted the Broncos to win this game, and they did in a very close game, actually. The final score was Denver 24, Los Angeles 21. I know it's got to be weird to call them the Los Angeles Chargers now after being in San Diego for about 50 years before moving in the offseason. But it doesn't look like that relocation helped their offense any, since they couldn't get the job done this game. But anyway, Trevor Siemian for the Broncos had a decent game. You know, I actually like Siemian a lot. I think he's definitely underrated. He showed some nice signs last year. I think he threw for around 20 TDs last year, and I think he's got some decent potential, especially since I think he went either in the 7th round or undrafted. But he had a nice game. I mean, very respectable. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you gotta like it when your quarterback can do that, especially when you got as great a defense as Denver does. You just need a decent or above average performance from your quarterback, and with that defense, I mean, you'll win most of the time. So, like they did here. But anyway, fair play from Trevor Siemian. They got an elite running back in C.J. Anderson as well, up over 80 yards. And I want to talk about the end of the game because I didn't watch it, but I heard that at the end of the game, and it was 24-21 Denver, the Chargers tried to tie the game with a last-second field goal, but it actually it didn't work out for them because the first time they tried the field goal, it was successful, but right before they did the kick, Vance Joseph, the Broncos head coach, actually called a timeout to ice the kicker, and it actually worked for them because the Chargers had to retry the kick, and it actually got blocked, which gave the Broncos the win. And man, that's just really unlucky for the Chargers. You go through all the effort to drive down the field. You got your nice rookie Korean kicker. I think his name is like Young-Koo Kim. I don't remember his name. No. I think his name is Young-Ho Kim or something like that. But you got your rookie kicker there. And, you know, he makes the first kick of the game, and then in the second one to tie the game, he makes it initially, but he has to re-kick it because of the timeout, and it gets blocked. That's just got to be devastating for Chargers fans. I mean, I couldn't imagine if that happened to my Falcons. I'd be so sad. But, you know, Philip Rivers is a very good quarterback for the Chargers. You know, I think he's top 10 definitely. You could argue he's top 5, but I wouldn't put him there. I'd put him about 7th or 8th maybe. He's very good, and they got a lot of potential on offense with Melvin Gordon coming into his 3rd year as a pro. But they just, I mean, it's an unlucky game. I mean, it's the first game of the season. The Broncos got a great defense. The Chargers are decent, but I just think in that tough AFC West with the Broncos and the Chiefs and Raiders, I still have them finishing last. But anyway, that was all the Week 1 games, and I actually did not prepare at all, so I don't actually know what my record predicting games was. Hang on, actually, I'll count it up. Give me a second. Okay, I counted it up, and I did not do well at all. I actually went 9-6 this week. That's not very good for me, but anyway, that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you liked this NFL Week 1 review. Let me know what you guys think. I know this is a little different from my previous videos, but hopefully I'll be able to start posting more now that college is kind of, you know, I'm kind of getting used to it, and it's kind of slowing down for me. But let me know what you guys think, because I'm planning to maybe do, if I have time, maybe do an NFL Week 2 preview, and maybe every week I'll kind of do previews and reviews of each game. I think that'd be kind of cool. And don't worry, I think I will bring back the Rocket League season mode gameplay because I really enjoy doing that. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I know this was a different kind of video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed my complete unpreparedness for this video and me just guessing and looking at the box scores for all these stats to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.